After creating over hundreds of bullet journal spreads, I noticed that titles and headers can really make or break your bullet journal spreads. It's typically the first thing you see, and it's typically what catches my attention whenever I'm scrolling through Instagram as well. That's why in this video, I want to share with you over 50 bullet journal titles so you never run out of ideas and so you can create those scroll-stopping spreads that you see on Instagram. So for this bullet journal titles tutorial, I'm going to be using my Tumbitree Mary bullet journal. I'm also going to be using the mild liner brush pens, the Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen, a black Frixion erasable pen, and also the Uniball Signo pen in white. So let's get all of your tools and let's get started. The first thing I really want to show you guys is the different visual effects that we can add to your lettering. And these simple tricks can really help you add a lot of dimension to your titles. And so when we start to combine a lot of different fonts and styles together, you can also add a lot of these visual effects to your lettering to get even more combinations for your titles. So we'll talk a little bit more about pairing different fonts together in a little bit, but for now I just want to show you that the first thing that you can add to your lettering is having some white outlines to kind of give a 3D bubbly effect. The next thing that you can add to your lettering is give it a little bit of a gradient effect. What I like to do is add a little bit of a darker color or even layer on the same color to the top half or bottom half of the lettering. One of my favorite effects when it comes to hand lettering is actually to combine the previous two styles together. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna create the same gradient effect by layering over the same color on top of the lettering, and then you can add the white pen to create that bubbly 3D effect, and you can even take another gray pen or black pen to add a little bit of shadow and really make it pop and give that 3D effect. Now let's talk about pairing some fonts together and combining these styles. The first thing that you can do is pair two monoline fonts together to really create this minimalistic look. And if you're not familiar with the term monoline, a monoline font is a font that have the same thickness vertically and horizontally, so each stroke is basically the same size. You can also pair your hand lettering font with the black bold font to really give it a contrasting pop. You can also elevate this combination even more by adding some gradient effect to your hand lettering and pairing it with that bold black font to create another unique bullet journal title. Something that you can also do to switch up your title combinations is to have one part of the title to be just lowercase letters and one of the other portions to be all capital letters. So just keep in mind that the lowercase or uppercase letters that you use can be another factor that you can interchange to give a lot more combinations to your title ideas. And I know that when I first started lettering, the biggest challenge for me was finding two different fonts to combine together. So let me know what was the biggest challenge for you when it comes to lettering in your bullet journal. I'd love to be able to share with you all of the tips that I've learned or even share with you some other different font ideas that you can include for your bullet journal titles. Another unique title idea that you can have for your bullet journal is also using washi tape to kind of create this empty, hollow spaces in the middle of your lettering. I really love to use this kind of style because you can then use the middle part to add a little banner and add a cute little subtitle. If you don't have any washi tape lying around, you can also just simply overlay your subtitle on top of your hand lettering as well. You can also get really creative with your subtitles and create some little fun banners or visual effects or designs to it as well. For example, in here you can add a little notepad section for your subtitle, or you can even create a similar effect by using some speech bubbles as a design for your subtitles. And as you can imagine, just by switching up the notepad or speech bubble design, you can get so much other variation for your bullet journal titles. So now let's take things up a notch and start using some shapes into our bullet journal titles. The first thing that you can do is add a little square for each letter of your subtitle. You can also make it really fun and dynamic by adding this kind of zigzag effect. You can also create something that looks really fun by alternating the squares and have some of them completely filled in and some of them just have the outline. You can also change the colors of the text that you're using inside the squares as well. Another layer of variation that you can add when it comes to these squares is to also switch up the angles that you're using it. So in this example, I have the squares in the top row kind of angled slightly to the right, and then I have the squares at the bottom kind of slightly angled to the left, and it also gives it a really nice dynamic look when it's all paired together. You can probably tell that I have a sweet tooth, but this one is inspired by the Toblerone chocolate. You can also switch up the squares for some triangles to create a different title effect as well. The next two bullet journal title ideas are really inspired from those Broadway or cinema lights that you could see in the movies. So what I did here is I drew the squares, and I also used the white pen to kind of add some little dots around the squares as the outline to really kind of give the effect that these are the lights that you see in the cinema lights. And I also wanted to pair it with a really nice elongated font. I find that it adds to that elegant look that I'm trying to achieve with this. Another variation you can try for this bullet journal title is to have the squares hollow as well. You can also change the color for the dotted lights that you use in the squares as well. I've tried this effect with the gold metallic pen and it looks super beautiful, so make sure to give it a try with the pens you have as well and try out the different combinations for your bullet journal. And speaking of lights, another variation for your bullet journal title is to also use these neon effect lights, and I find that it works particularly well if you use some neon highlighters to really get that bright neon effect. I also like to create a gradient lettering and add some little white dots in the center. It kind of makes me think of a starry night or a little gradient galaxy that you can have in your lettering too. If you're not really in the mood to create any structured shapes, you can also have something abstract, and it also creates a really nice effect as well. Another fun shape that you can use for your bullet journal titles are circles. Don't forget that you can always switch between filling it in or leaving it hollow, and you can always change the colors of the circles as well. You can also add some squiggly lines in the background to kind of give this wavy background effect. You can also have something that is a little bit tighter, vary the shapes of the waves as well, and even add a little bit of a darker color to kind of have this ribbon effect to the waves. In order to do so, you just want to use a darker color and go over the thinner parts. Another really fun title idea for your bullet journal is to create two waves and write the title in the middle of these two waves. I find it gives such a fun and unique look. You could also write the subtitle right below the second wave. Another really fun effect that I like to create is having the look of a woven line. So what you can do is create a line with your colored brush pen, and then whenever you're writing your letters, you can have some of them that is going over the line and some of them going under the line to make it look as if the line is woven between the title. Another really simple variation that you can add to your bullet journal titles is to actually use your brush pen to add a shadow to your titles or subtitle as well. Now let's talk about all of the little doodles and designs that we can also add to enhance our bullet journal titles. One of the easiest and funnest one that I really like to do is also just add some little stars or sparkles around your bullet journal title. You can also have a little banner design whenever you want to add your subtitle, or you can even have the banner for your title instead. And if you want to get a lot of different combinations, you can also change the shape of your banner. You can have it that is more wavy, or you can have something that is more rigid. I have another video that has a lot more banner ideas, so if you want to see more variations of banner shapes that you could try out, make sure to check out that video right after this one. Another doodle idea that you can try for your title is also to use a shooting star. You can even combine this with the woven line to even give it more of an elevated look. You can also doodle some clouds for a cute little background. I think this is a super cute and dreamy title idea. You can even add some stars to this as well. Or you can even doodle some bubbles on the background. You can have some of the circles filled in. You can also vary the sizes as well. Another bullet journal title trend that I've been really loving right now is this Google search type of look. You can kind of recreate that elongated oval-ish rectangle and have the little magnifying glass to kind of recreate that look of a Google search. Or you can also try to recreate the browser window that you see on your computer. It's super simple. What you can do is just create this little rectangle, have a little colored header on top, and recreate the little icons that you see in the top right. Another really cute title idea that you can try for your bullet journal is kind of have this effect of a starry night. So you can create a little black header and also have some little star details around the black header as well. And we can also start to mix and match with the other previous patterns that we saw in these title ideas. So what you can do now is have a black header and also recreate the black checkered look or that alternating squares that we saw previously. If you're really looking for a title idea that is more of a statement piece to your bullet journal, this one is definitely it. It really gives you a lot of pop and a lot of contrast in your bullet journal. So what you can do is just create your subtitle with your normal hand lettering, and what I like to do is create a little box around it in black. I find that this gives so much contrast. It gives you so much pop in your bullet journal. So anytime you want a little statement piece to your bullet journal, this title idea is definitely the one for you. On the other hand, if you're looking for something that is a little bit simpler and is faster to create, you can also use another color to add some underlines to your titles as well. If you want to add some contrast to your bullet journal, you can use a combination of complementary colors, and complementary colors just means that they're on opposite sides of the color wheel. If you want to add more of a contrasting look between a bold title and a really simple subtitle, you can also create a 3D lettering effect to your title. You can just add a little bit of a shadow effect to create this 3D looking title, and that's really gonna give you a nice contrast and make the title look even more bold compared to the subtitle. Some other really fun background ideas that you can use for your bullet journal titles is to create a checkered look with your colored pens, or you can even create a gingham background. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but basically it's similar to the checkered look, except you want to vary some thinner lines in it as well. And now we can also combine all of the different design elements together. For example, you can also create the little checkered look for your title, also add some little stars or even other embellishments to create a different combination as well. Now let's talk about bullet journal title ideas that has 3 lines to it. The first thing that you can do is have a little wavy middle to create the title and subtitle combination. You can also have a little bubbly doodles in the middle and have some rectangles or squares to kind of encompass the subtitle with the bubbly design. Or you can even give each line a unique look. You can give a nice gradient look for the title. You can have a little line for the subtitle and even have some little circles for the third part if you have it in your title. You can also use a black header as a separator between your title and the third line in your title as well. This is really great if you really want to create some contrast and a really clear separation as well. You can also create an arc for one of the line of your titles. I find that it's easier to center everything when you start by writing out the longest word first, so make sure to give that a try if you're struggling with making everything look centered. Another variation that you can also try out for your bullet journal is to have a really thin separator between your title and subtitle. I find that this also gives a really nice and simple look as well. Let me know in the comments down below which bullet journal title idea was your favorite. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see some more bullet journal titles that might be a little bit on the easier side, I have another video dedicated to that as well, so make sure you check that out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in another one of my videos.